The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Right. Get yourselves together. Right. Stand up and live your life. Right. Get yourselves together. Right. Hands up high.
Welcome to the Rise Above Show. I am Joe Perroni.
I'm Heidi Mancini, and we want to thank Las Vegas Meal Prep for partnering with the Rise Above Show. If you need meal prep for your family because you're busy working and can't get to the store, she does meal prep for that. She does competitor meal prep, and Marie also delivers to your home. And also, we want to take a moment to thank Jay Jung from City Athletic Club. He's also a partner with the Rise Above Show.
Okay, so today is our Christmas show, and I was thinking of things to do today. One of the things I came up with is what is that? That song, "The 12 Days of Christmas," and I talk about the 12 days of Christmas my true love gave to me, and so I wanted to work off of that, but make it more a relationship style thing. So, what things you could give or receive that would be good for a relationship that would help. And Heidi and I were going over some stuff this week. I've got mine. But I think Heidi was working on, you put some stuff on Facebook and you were getting some ideas from people. Mm-hmm. So what did other people come up with?
Well, some of the things that I heard, there was two comments. Two of the women on there didn't have true love, so that was a little sketchy because I didn't really know how to respond to that. But I guess, you know, if you had a true love, then there's things that people, you know, want their significant other to do for them. Some of the things I got were the usual, you know, back rub, you know, doing dishes around the house, hugs, you know, so many hugs. You know, the one that was really cute because she kind of broke it down into days from the 12 days down.
Right.
And mine was more about, one of mine was a poem, you know, about the relationship, you know, what the other person thinks about their relationship with you and that the special times. Another one was, you know, picture memorabilia. If my true love gave to me like memorabilia about, you know, their history with me. One was a team, you know, working as partners. That was a common theme I heard from a lot of people, the women I talked to, and some of the men too, that they wanted their true love to have the relationship be more of a partnership. And, you know, whatever their definition of a partnership is, as far as whatever. Guys have their idea of what a partnership is. Women have theirs. What else was there was a couple other ones.
But it sounds more like you're talking about people are asking things or want things that have to do more with affection and care rather than just this Christmas thing that we're told that it's all about gifts and the expense
of
gifts.
Well, the gifts and stuff wear off. We all know that. You know, you can, the gift part of it, it's nice. It's a token. It's thoughtful. You know, whatever. Especially if you take the time to go and really think about the person you're buying for, and that could be a true love type of a gift because, you know, you took the time to really know who you're with. At Christmas time, I find a lot of people just go spending money because they have to keep up with, they feel like they have to keep up with their in-laws, their family, their friends. Well, my friend is spending this much money on her boyfriend or husband, so now you feel like, you know, it turns into more of a retail competitiveness, so the retail companies make out really well. But I think at the end of the day, and one of the big ones for me was health. You know, I don't know why I thought about that, but health was, for me, a big one. Because without that, you can't do anything. I don't want to be with somebody that, you know, doesn't care about their health. They don't want to, you know, participate in life, you know, whether it be, you know, through choice. It could be, you know, other things. But I thought about that. That was one of the ones that came on my list. And then, you know, you start putting those out to people and they go, yeah, that's true. You know, if your partner could bring you health. And that doesn't mean, you know, my health, working out 8 days a week at the gym and and all that. It means, you know, going to the doctor, getting the tests done that you need done so that your partner's not stressing because you're not taking care of yourself. You know, do some exercise, do things together with the family and the kids and your spouse that's physical type stuff, bowling, roller skating, go to the park, you know, those types of things. A lot of people said about time, they don't have enough time, to spend with their partners the way they want to, because work takes up so much of their time. Their kids take up a lot of their time. And I think, I said to one of my girls yesterday, I said, it's like scheduling. Time is like a date. If you don't schedule time with your partner, chances are you're not going to have it. And you need to define, the time that you want to spend. How do you want to spend that time? One of my ways I don't like to spend time is I don't like to have the TV on all the time and things like that. I like to go for a walk, be out in nature, that kind of thing. Just talk about, things, but that's my, my definition of maybe spending quality time together. Somebody else's might be, but you have to let your partners know, this is the time that I want to spend with you, and this is what I'd like to do. What would you like to do? And, sometimes you can't do the same thing together at the same time, but then you can make 2 separate dates, and then you can make 2 different times.
But let's go back a little bit, because you mentioned health, so that's a big deal for me. I think, too, when we talk about a gift that you can give your partner, is not just always an actual thing. Sometimes it's not about what we want from a partner to give us. It's about being a better partner, right? So when we talk about health, at least for me, I think to take care of yourself first and not to be a burden on your partner is also a gift. What do you think?
Well, that's what I said. I said I think that it's your responsibility to take care of yourself, and that one of the ways that we do that is through health. You do it through goal setting. If you're happy doing what you want to do, or at least going in that direction, to take care of yourself. But I also think that a lot of relationships, at least from what I hear, what I see, especially long-term relationships, the new ones are always amazing because you got the endorphins going, you're new, everything's new, they're great, they're going to be attentive to every, thing that goes on with that other person. And as time goes on, people start kind of drifting apart because they take each other for granted. They just always think the person's going to be that same person, or maybe that person's going to always be around. I don't know. But to me, most of the people I talked to are people that were in long-term relationships, and one of the things I got from it was, time. Time was a huge one. And one of the other ones I heard was, and I have a problem with this one too, is asking for what you want. And to me, I have a real problem with that no matter what I'm doing, asking for what I need. But to me, there's another side of that. If you ask for what you need and you've communicated that you shouldn't have to continue to have to ask. And that, that seems to be where, the taking care of each other. So we're talking about communication. Communication comes in where, what kind of communication, take time to communicate and, realize what, for me personally, it's like to realize what the person really is asking for, not what I think the person's asking for, or what, we think is our definition, of love. One example I can give is my daughter, with her, I tended to, helicopter her, but that was my way of showing care towards her. But the way she saw that was that I was being, a helicopter mom, controlling, all those things. And that probably does come in that to a certain degree, but I didn't interpret it that way. My way I show love to people is I'm nurturing, I'm caring, I'm available, I'm there. I like to do things for people. And, not everybody is wants that, So I have to learn that, me personally, when you talk about what my true love gave to me, I can't always look at it in a way with what I would do for my true love. And I think people tend to do that. They go, well, I like it and you should like it, or this is how I show love, so you should show love in the same way. And
let me go on that for a second, because I think at some point, I think a lot of people, we get really narcissistic, right? Like, it becomes all about us. Like, this is what I want and this is what I expect the other person to give me. Or if I ask for something and they don't give me exactly what I want, the way I want it, when I want it, I have a problem. And I was thinking about that and go, well, is that part of a relationship really? In other words, there's a book out, and I kind of like it, but there's parts that I don't. It's called The 5 Love Languages. And someone will say, well, this person, the way you satisfy them is by giving them time. Or you can satisfy them by doing deeds, deeds of service. In other words, you have to talk to them or treat them in a way that they want to be treated. And I think we can all understand that. I definitely understand that.
I think your love languages change, though, as you go through life. I think that, your love languages, depending on where you might be, they can change. I know mine do, over time, or they have. One of the things that you mentioned before was like you having to do something for the other person because that's what they want. And the thing is that usually, and this is in the beginning of relationships, and it's a transaction. I guess if you look at things as like transactional, it's like when we have clients, you and I both take care of our I said patients, I don't know why I would say that, our clients. And we give them what they want. We have to, because we get paid. And for some reason, when we get into intimate relationships, sometimes they'll start out that way, and then as time goes on, it almost becomes, I don't want to say a pain, but it becomes a nuisance that, in the beginning, what was you gave so freely, now all of a sudden it becomes a job, or it becomes you don't want to do it anymore. And yet, with our clients, every time we see our client, we say, hello, how are you? How's your day? And we put our best effort into making sure, for me, it's the hair thing. I do their hair. I want to make sure they're pleased for a lot of reasons. They're advertising for me. I don't want them walking out looking like crap. Second of all, it makes them feel good about themselves. They send me business, which gives me more money to, help pay my bills. Personal training is very similar too, in the sense that, people, they want their results. They want to come in, and whether it's for a conversation, some people do that. They just come in and train just to talk. They're not there to get gains or do anything. You're still fulfilling a need. You're still, or you'll get that hardcore client. You can't slow them down. They got to go from one thing to that. You're giving them what they need. They're happy. And sometimes in relationships, we stop giving the other person what they need because maybe we don't need that, or maybe we needed it at one time, but now we're in a different place, and we forget, like for me, touch is real important. And anybody that knows me is like, that girl will come up, she hugs everybody. And I do. I love to touch people. I touch people all day long. And that is a cue to other people that I would like to be touched. And I don't mean it in an offensive, pedophilic kind of way, but I like to touch people. And
in the day and age of sexual harassment, that could be a problem.
It is, but I also think that, you got to kind of be yourself and be... I just was talking to this about Vicki Lynch. Vicki Lynch, we were talking about this work, and I said, yeah, it's getting to a point where, you don't know what to say, who to touch, who not to touch. But I said, I think there has to be, everybody has to have their own boundary. Like, everybody has to determine that for themselves, what's appropriate, what's not. And that's the bottom line, because if you said to some girl, like myself, if somebody says to me, you have a nice rear end, right? And it's in the gym, I would say, thank you, I work very hard on that, and I do. If I'm out on the street and some guy comes by and goes, you got a nice ass, and I don't know this guy, and I don't initially get offended. I just kind of go, okay, thank you, and I give him kind of like the look like, okay, I get it, but okay, bye, that kind of thing. So it's setting your own limits, because that same compliment, depending on who's saying it, or that wording, whatever it is, could mean a lot of different things to different people.
Right.
So
let me go back a little bit, because here's one of the things that I notice in relationships. Like, I understand that relationships are really, really difficult. Obviously, right? There's about, a 55% divorce rate now. But here's how I look at it, right? Let me go back to the 5 love languages for a second. Supposedly, there's about 5 different ways that people feel loved. But let's take that out and throw it away. Because at some point, there's so little appreciation in that way. Because if there's one thing that we do know, right? Like, when you have a dog, everybody loves their dog, right? And your dog doesn't say, oh, my owner really likes gifts of service, so I'm going to go fix the dishwasher. Your dog doesn't do that. And your dog doesn't give affection the way a human would. What a dog is the best dog it can be. And we love our dogs. And so the appreciation and the love unconditionally that we can do for an animal, why can we not do it for a human? I'll give you an example. My father is like, he's 75 now. He's like a lot of men of that generation. He is a very strong guy. He's a very emotionally... you just don't know how he feels. Let's just put it that way. He's just very, staunch. But he is a very caring guy. His way to be caring would be, so, does your car need to be fixed? I can change your oil. And if you are 300 miles away and it's midnight and your car breaks down, he will be there to fix it. Now, if you're expecting him to kiss your cut that you got on your knee when you fell, that's not going to happen. If you want to have a nice discussion about your emotions and feelings, and that's probably not going to happen. So what I would say is, if your supposed love language is emotional connection through talking about your feelings, sorry, not everybody is like that. And me personally, I choose not to judge people based on only what I like. So if I feel that somebody is, let's say, you love me the best way you can. As long as it's the best way you can, I'm good. Because I don't feel that in any way I should try to structure you, change you, put you down in any way, shape, or form. Love is love, and that's it. So I think, because I'm a big Who fan, Peter Townsend used to talk about this a lot, about a little is enough. And why would he say that? It's because love is infinite. So whether it's a raindrop or an ocean, it makes no difference. It's of the same thing. So the way I look at it is, let's say you love me. Okay, I might want you to be able to enjoy a football game with me and know exactly who all the players are. That would be fun, but you don't. That doesn't mean you don't love me, and that doesn't mean I don't want to be around you. So I think today we've become so narcissistic that we need to tell people not just that you need to love me, you need to love me now, but you need to love me the way I want to be loved, because I expect it, I deserve it, and I want it. And I just really find that that's...
Because even with the football, I do watch football with you.
No, I'm just using it as an example.
But I'm just saying, and I do. I say, you know what, I'm not that crazy, but I don't want to watch 18 games a day, and I know there's girls out there that do, and good for them, if that's all you got time to do all day. But my life, again, is different in that sense that, I'm willing to compromise and say, okay, I'll watch a game or two with you, but we have a game on Mondays, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturdays, because we do the college. So I
not
think
Wednesday, but...
it was on Wednesday a couple weeks ago. I don't know why. It kind of threw me, because it's usually on Monday, Thursday,
it was
Sunday,
Thursday.
Saturday,
I think you thought
Sunday.
it was Wednesday.
So, it is about, sometimes doing the little things that you're not, like, jammed about doing. It's a little bit about compromise. I mean, you took me to see Cinderella a couple of years for Valentine's Day.
Not the rock band, by the way.
Ballet,
it was the ballet. And I want everybody to know this. Black Sabbath was also playing the same night at the Thomas and Mack.
Right.
And I go and take you to Cinderella.
So there was
Do you think I wanted to go to Cinderella?
But sometimes
no.
The whole thing about the word love, it's overrated, because I don't think most people, if you ask them what love means, they can't tell you what it means. Love is a feeling, okay? And again, there's the argument that, it's not a feeling. Love is a lot of times what you do. It's not just saying I love you. It's, doing for the other person and trying to do what they like some of the time. It doesn't mean you have to do it all the time. And one of the things is maybe, you back that up with, I'll watch football with you, and I'll pick a game or two a week, but please understand, if I don't sit down with you for 6 games a week, it's not that I don't like you, but I have other things I would like to do. Nothing personal.
Right.
And I think that's where the communication comes from, the lack of, because people don't follow through with the communication end of why they're doing it or why they're not doing it. You know what I mean?
I do. I totally agree with that, but that's where I think it's open communication. Like, just so you know, I don't like Journey either, right? They suck. I can't, it's like, I can't stand them. But you know what? I got you tickets for Journey, and I also was able to pull some strings, and I got you backstage to meet them, didn't I? Okay. I didn't need to be there. And there are some other things that we saw a Bee Gees tribute, which, there was some nostalgia because my mother likes the Bee Gees, but I'm not ever going to be driving down the street listening to the Bee Gees. You can forget it. But you enjoyed it. And so here's the thing where I think people are starting to forget, is that I don't have to like the Bee Gees, okay? I don't have to enjoy anything about that. What I enjoyed is that you enjoyed it. And why do we lose that? with people now. It's not about like you watching football with me and saying, oh yeah, that was a really good tackle. How about enjoy the fact that I played football for many years and I totally enjoy it and I smile every time I watch a good game. So it's like being in the presence of another human being, enjoying something. You don't have to like the actual act that's perfect. As a matter of fact, I would even go on the record for saying a lot of people actually don't like drinking. You know, some do, no problem. But I think a lot of people go to bars and they say, let's go for a drink. Not because of the drink. That's not the star of the show. The star of the show is to be able to hang out with your friends, isn't it? Like, so I think we lose part of that. Well, and I think when you're
in relationships, too, is that one of the things that I was going to write, and I didn't write on my list, was no expectations. If my true love gave to me no expectations, because I think that that's another thing that gets relationships and people in trouble. When we have, I call them superficial relationships, and I don't want to say that to mean that I don't care about people that are not in my immediate love circle, you know, my family. But I don't put a lot of expectations on people that I don't know that well.
Right.
You know, and I think in personal relationships, after a while, you start to expect a certain behavior from somebody. You expect, you know, you'll hear people say, and I do this, well, it used to be like that. Well, the expectation is that the person did something that way 10 years ago. Why is the expectation the same 10 years later? Well, you know, 10 years later, you're in a different spot in your relationship than you know, 10 years ago. The expectation would be, you know, different than the expectation probably 10 years later. And I think that's another thing that people get into with, you know, relationships, is they expect things from their partner. They expect their partner to read their mind. They expect their partner to know what they want. And then when the partner doesn't know what they want or can't read their mind, then it causes, you know, the friction. But
and that's an important thing you said.
When you're with clients, I don't do that. I don't expect my clients to remember. Well, when I'm training them, I don't expect them to remember how to do. I tell them every single time that we do a side delt raise, how to do it, because we do it differently. Sometimes you do it with a dumbbell, sometimes you do it with a machine. So I go through the motions every single time I train them, and some of my clients train 3 times a week. So 3 times a week, they're getting a different delt movement, but I feel the need to, I don't have the expectation to go, okay, you've done a delt movement before, let's do it.
But see, what you're talking about I really like, because we can make that metaphor, right, from working as a trainer or working as you do as a hairdresser to an actual full-on relationship. And what I've seen and heard a lot, even from you sometimes, because it rubs off on you when you're talking to your friends at the salon, I hear this from a lot of women. They'll say, why doesn't he know what I want? Why do I have to tell him? And a guy will continue to say the same thing. Just let me know what you want, and then I could help or try to fulfill that need. Well, I'm not going to tell you. So it becomes a guessing game, and it becomes this thing of, why are we fighting that? If somebody asks you point blank, how can I help you? How can I meet your need? How can I make your day better? And your answer is, I don't know, take a guess, figure it out. It moves to the other part that I like to talk about in terms of relationships. Where's the malice? Right? Like if you did something to me that I didn't appreciate or was actually hurtful, I could say to you, you know, I feel hurt when you do this or that, or when you don't do this or that. Knowing that there's no malice involved makes it really easy to have that conversation. But if you're going out of your way to purposely hurt, and you're trying to hurt your partner, that's when the conversation gets really tricky. So in my point of view, if somebody asks you, what can I do to make your day better? And your answer is, I don't know, go figure it out. If you cared about me, you should know. That's a malicious comment at that moment, because that problem could be solved in the snap of a finger, but it's taken to the next level of, you don't care about me. You need to be able to be really good at guessing. Take out the, the crystal ball, and be able to tell fortunes and stuff. And it puts the relationship in a really, really tough situation, right? Because things change. Like, we know that with the dogs, right? I always like to use that as an example. Like, one day, my dog will love fish. And the next day, he looks at me and goes, I ain't eating that. I ate that 4 days in a row. Where's my chicken? And
heat up the food, Joe.
Yeah.
They
so
look at him like, what are you
we
doing?
do this
Give me
with the
cold
dogs,
rice.
right? Like, some days you put a little something in, as a treat. And some days they sit there like this and they hold out. You know why? Because they like organic pumpkin. It's really sweet.
Love it.
They like it. All of a sudden you put a drop of that on a tablespoon and then they eat, and it's crazy. And they love it and you love it because it makes them happy and they wag their tails. Why do we lose that when it's our partner? It's like, what can I do for you right now to make you...
It comes down to, I expect, you know, like, okay, we'll use an example. You know, instead of saying, like, can you please heat up the chicken and rice? I'm on my way home, right?
And the answer would be yes.
Yes. I would do this thing. I'll go, well, I'll be home in a little while, and hopefully he'll surprise me with dinner. Okay? Where that whole thing goes wrong is this. You don't know what I'm thinking, first of all. So you're probably doing your own thing, not thinking. I'm driving home going, well, maybe tonight, this night, I'll be surprised with dinner. So I walk in the house, I'm hungry, and you're busy, and there's no dinner. So then I go eat up my... Okay, so the whole thing started way back before I drove home. It could have been the simple text to you, or because, you know, we text to say, hey, can you start heating up dinner? I'd like some chicken and rice and maybe a couple green beans in there, you know, instead of me. And I get in trouble a lot with that because I do. You are home sometimes before me, and I always have this expectation that... And you know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because
I would love to know.
A long time ago. But see, this is what we hold on to stuff. We hold on to stuff. At least I do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only female on the planet that does this.
No, you and a lot of your friends do because it rubs off.
I remember coming home
to it's like a disease.
Spinach and strawberry with chicken breast on top for no reason, and I was like, I must have been a really good girl because why? It was freaky to me. And the fact too that you went to Whole Foods, I knew you did that, but it was cute anyway. I'm like, he did not cook this chicken breast. I know he did it.
No, I didn't.
And I know the fact that you went to Whole Foods, you walked down the aisle, you got the spinach because you know I like spinach. You picked up a chicken breast, and you even bought me strawberries because you knew I like. I made a comment about a strawberry spinach salad. Yeah. You knew I liked that, and I came home, it was on the table. So I guess, you know, at certain points in our lives when we go through stuff. Maybe
okay, can I stop you right there for a second? Okay, you're comparing a Saturday night date when we were dating for like a month as opposed to 10 years later on a random Tuesday. Like, that's not even remotely close to being the same. And, you know, like, okay, so... Let's just picture this, right? So people can understand how you get into a fight and you're not even there. Okay, you're literally driving home fighting with me while I'm folding clothes. So I have nothing to do and I could be ready to have dinner when you come home because I was actually waiting for you, right? So we usually eat about 8. It's 7:15. I'm about 45 minutes early. So there will be no dinner at 7:15 because you're not there. I already fed the dogs. You got nothing to do when you come home. But yeah, you're driving going, okay, so he's going to have chicken with strawberries. You didn't even say anything. You're just expecting it. Now, you do that every day. You come home angry every day. If you did that. I'm just making that part up. But that's how it starts. Now, here's what you could do.
But that's expectations.
Right, but this is what you could do, right?
Then the part of me says, why do I always have to ask for what I want?
Because you're a human being, and we always have to ask for what we want. And you know what? You're our hairdresser. You've been a hairdresser for a long time. I don't care if so-and-so comes and sits in your chair, and they've been your client since the year 1973, you're still going to ask them what they want when they sit in that chair.
I just realized something.
No, answer that.
That's true.
Will you?
But I think the reason, this is the reason.
Because you care about your clients more than you do your relationship.
No, I care about my relationship. But I think...
Because you care about the money more than you do the relationship.
I think that you're going to make me lose my train of thought.
I'm trying.
I care about the relationship with my client. But I think that when you're a caregiver, honestly, this is no excuse for my behavior, okay? When I train people, it's the same thing. It's all about them for that hour.
Yes.
Okay, all about them. I don't care. You can come and talk to me and do whatever you want. But you already know that I'm going to say, hi, Joe, how are you? See you later. Because I have my client here.
Agreed, and I enjoy when you do that.
And the same thing in the salon. My clients will pull that crap. I'll have a client in my chair, and my next client will come in, and I'll go, wait a minute. Just have a seat over there and I'll be with you in a few minutes because I want to finish up with this person here. I think some of my thing is I just want somebody to dote on me once in a while because I'm so busy. Like,
but you notice how you today? But you noticed how you had to throw in the Now, I'm doing a lot of studying lately about irrational beliefs and, this all or nothing thinking. When you say dote on you every once in a while, okay, let's not go down that road that it never happens. It happens often and a lot. It just doesn't happen every time you want it to. That's the actual truth if we really look at the honest truth, right?
Yeah.
Every morning I come in, what's the first thing I do when I come home after walking the dogs?
You put your cold hands on my back.
I do. And you notice, if this was 10 years ago, you would have said, you put your hands on my back. Now it's your cold hands. See? There's a difference. So the expectation is before, the thought is when you didn't know me and you just saw me, you'd be like, I wonder what it would be like to have that beautiful man's hands around my waist at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Now after 10 years, it's like, don't touch me, you're cold. Right? Like that's true. So it does go both ways. Like, what if I drove home every night and I thought to myself, tonight's the night that Heidi is going to bring home a couple of girls and put them in our bedroom tonight. And when you don't, I get annoyed. Right? Like, I'm not expecting that. But what if I did? So you're expecting strawberries every night. How about you say, I would like some strawberries tonight. And I'll go, okay, I can do that. That's what would happen. But you get angry at me before I even say no.
So here's my question.
Okay, I'm going to get in trouble now. Go ahead.
2 weeks from today,
yes.
should I be expecting a Black Forest cake?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
And this is the thing. This is what I'm talking about, being thoughtful, okay? One of the things that, because I don't know John, like I don't know what John likes, because I've known you for a couple years and I don't know you intimately. Like I don't know what perfume you wear. I don't know what your likes, restaurants, that kind of thing. Our conversations are nice. We work together, but I don't know those things about you. And even if I did, I would not be buying you cologne, because again, I think that's that's a little personal there. But I thought, what can I bring him for Christmas? Because I know I wanted to bring you something to say thank you for taking care of Joe and I through the years. And I'm like, it goes against my food thing, because it was a Black Forest cake. And I said, I know he loves Black Forest cake. So that's what we're going to give him for Christmas. He can enjoy it. You can share it with your family. Everybody else can enjoy it. And I went to the French bakery and I got that. But I took the time to think, what can I get him for? I didn't want to bring you Starbucks coffee, because I've done that before. I do that periodically. So and I guess my point is, what I'm trying to get at with the warmed up dinners or the dinners, is that it's thinking once in a while about, what can I do for this person? I know they're having a rough week. I know they're putting a lot of hours in. They're working a lot. I know. I'm going to call her and ask her, what time you be home? I'll make you dinner. What time are you going to be home? And then the surprise type thing. That's all I'm saying. It's like going a little bit beyond. And I think when people are together for a long time, they stop doing those little nice things. And I think if you can't do them, then you should never start them. Because I think
when it's unexpected, isn't it that much more valuable?
Yes.
That if you're expecting it and it happens, it's like, oh, okay, I was expecting that.
It's like the way life is right now, and the way my life is, because Joe's going his thing too. My life is super busy. I don't have a lot of spontaneity in my life or my day. Okay, I don't. Most of my day is, I listen to everybody. We talk. We have a dialogue. We go back and forth. Don't want to make it sound like all I do is listen to people's problems. But sometimes you just want that little spark too, or you want just that little poop in your week to go, I wasn't expecting that. When it gets, okay, this is the point. It gets to the same, there's, and when
I agree.
When you're dating somebody,
I agree, but see, here's where the difference is, and I'm not trying to, I don't want to air too much dirty laundry about differences between me and you. Let's say a lot of the differences here are between males versus females, right? Like, what you're talking about is spontaneity, I believe, right? That's a big part of it, being spontaneous. We all agree. We all love being spontaneous. But here's where in therapy we call it being in a double bind. It's because you can't tell somebody to be spontaneous, because spontaneous means that you don't think, you just do it. So let me finish, because this is really, really important. Because I'm not saying men are better than women or women are better than men. This is dead center, right down the center of how you look at life. I want to be spontaneous, right? I like that situation too. But if I want to be spontaneous, you know how I do it? By being spontaneous. I can't push you down and be angry at you for not being, because you are 100% responsible for the spontaneity in your life. And it's the same way with me. You have no idea. I could be sitting home every day, and I don't go to bars, I don't do anything, I don't hang out and carouse with friends. I am home, I am doing what I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it. I am not spontaneous because I am there. Okay, so the spontaneity would be what? In other words, if I want to be spontaneous, it would be my job to do that. If you want to be spontaneous, it would be your job to do that. You are at least 50% responsible for the spontaneity that goes on in a relationship. It's not on me.
The cake into the spontaneity with the cake was me going, I'm going over to the bakery today and I'm getting that cake for John. The other part of it, if I would have called him and said, John, I just want to let you know I'm bringing you a Black Forest cake, it would have taken the surprise, and the whole purpose of me getting that cake was I wanted to surprise him. I wanted him to know he was appreciated, and we wanted him also to know that I know you like Black Forest cake. So there was a lot of motives in there, and
Yeah, but the difference is that was a Christmas present.
Right.
That was a thing to do around the holidays.
Right.
So, I was being a little bit facetious about expecting a Black Forest cake every 2 weeks, but
no, I know,
and I understand that. But the point that I was trying to make was that if you expect someone to do something and they do it, it's not as big a deal as if it's unexpected.
right.
And that's what I think the point that you're trying to make, Joe, is
Right.
that's what we should be striving for in our relationships.
And I said that
Right.
earlier about
Trying
the
to
12 days of Christmas,
Right.
to give me
Right.
where I cannot have expectations, because that's what gets me feeling bad sometimes, is because I have expectations of things that, I'd like done or could, whatever. I don't even know.
But look at it down the middle for a second, right? Let's say, for all intents and purposes, obviously, we're in a relationship. If I say the term, I'm not making up words and making up definitions, spontaneity, off the top of your head. Males and females are both 100% capable of spontaneity. Why is it that I can look at you and go, I'm not angry that you're not spontaneous? Like you said, your jobs are very important, you're very busy. I understand that. And when I explain that, if you really want to have a relationship, or where the stress level comes down, you would say, thank you. We're both equally responsible. You have no right to be 100% angry at me for dropping the spontaneity ball when you're doing the same, because I don't put that pressure on you. The pressure's only in one direction. And the pressure actually should be held up by both of us at both times. That's what a relationship is. Just because I have testosterone doesn't mean I hold up the spontaneity thing. If you're in a relationship, you both do. And that's what I was saying before about being appreciative. If all you have for me at the end of the day is a hello, how was your day, and that's all you can talk about because you're tired from working with people, I'm good with that. Because that's you. I don't want to put any extra pressure on you. There should not be the extra pressure. Do you see the difference between... There should not be this thing of one person is supposed to be God and the other person makes up for it. In my 12 days of Christmas, what I would come up with too is that if you want to be happy in a relationship, the best way to do is to be happy. And then you share your happiness with another human being. The thought that the other person's in your life to try to make you happy, or if you're not happy, you need to blame the other person, that's ridiculous. That's why there's about 55% of people get divorced, because they're unhappy human beings that are expecting their partner to make them happy. If you don't like the way you bang your consciousness off of other human beings in this world, it makes you stressed out, it makes you depressed, it makes you tired, it makes you angry. That's not something you come home to and say, fix me. You're not a car. Like, nobody could fix that but yourself or myself or whoever. It doesn't take much. Like, it's not, as long as there's not malice involved, it's really easy for somebody to say, you're home earlier than me. I would love to have chicken and rice. That's easy. Instead of saying, let's play a guessing game so there's one more thing I can be angry at somebody for. Because sometimes it's very specific, right? You're on a diet. So when I make you food, you look at it, you go, I can't have that. That happens too. So a smart person would say, what would you like? And then the other person that's smart would say, I would like, not take a guess. I've already taken a guess and I've been wrong. So it doesn't make sense to take a guess. You know, if you say, Joe, do you like Santa Claus hats? Would you like to wear the red one today? I don't know, but if you want me to wear red, I will wear red. And so I did, right? You texted me that, you know, I assumed you wanted purple because I knew this morning you wore purple pants. How did I know that? Because I remembered it because I was the one who bought those pants for you because I thought you would look good in those. That's a pretty spontaneous act. Do we need to go on a break or anything to throw in like a commercial? Or could we?
At the end, if you like.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I know we'll get towards the end, and I know we need to do a commercial here.
Well, I think the point being with the 12 Days of Christmas is the original 12 Days of Christmas were about things.
Right.
And when I started talking to people, most people did not say things. It was more about deeds. It was more about caring. It was more about those type of things that they'd want to see more from their partners, okay? Whether it's our relationship, their relationship, whoever, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is it came across loud and clear to me that, you know, we live in a materialistic society, and the retailers right now are making a crap load of money because people are buying gifts for their loved ones because they've asked for special things, whatever. But most people are not wanting those materialistic gifts. You know, health was another one that came up because people have sick, you know, people in their families right now, and they're wishing that their you know, their true love's health was better because they're very sick right now. So, you know, to me it came across that it was more about the emotional needs that are not being met, the caring, the compassion, the understanding that people have in relationships, that it seems to be kind of, you know, and it's equally, you know, on both sides, because some of my guy clients said the same thing. So it's not like it's just one gender being, you know, inconsiderate of the other. It's, you know, the men are saying similar things. You know, I'd like her to be nicer to me, or I'd like her to, you know, like you said, sit down and watch a football game with me.
Yeah, let me say something that's going to sound bad to some people, but it's actually a really good thing. When you're a marriage and family therapist, one thing that happens over and over and over again is you'll get a couple, right? They'll sit down on the couch. And you'll ask, so why are we meeting here, right? You know, how can I help you? The woman will say, the problem is that she's not happy. Then you'll say to the man, and you'll go, so what's your point of view? And he'll say, I'm having a lot of difficulty because she's not happy. So what they have in common is that they're both trying to make the woman happy. And there needs to be like a little bit of a change here to where people stop thinking that men are these horrible human beings that we see like constantly on TV now, that men are being put down all the time. I don't see men on a general basis that are superficial and uncaring. I see very caring human beings. I mean, listen, there's some jerks in every walk of life, right? But for the most part, it's men sit there and they go, how can I make this better? You're not telling me how to make it better. You're complaining all the time. You don't make it better. You know, and you know, that's what I see. One of the things about love is it's really interesting. People keep thinking it's a feeling, and if you feel that way, that's great. We can do that. I personally don't think it's a feeling whatsoever. It's really a word of action. It's what you do for somebody. It's not a feeling. Like you could love chocolate. You can love scary movies too. You know, that's not love. That's a whole different thing. Love is about action and doing something. And it's that back and forth of, how can I help you? Okay, let me do my best. And when somebody does their best and it falls short, I don't know if you're an appreciative, caring person, if it's okay to put the person down for that. As long as there's not malice and they're doing their best. It's like when you like dogs, right? We have a pug. This pug is definitely not going to be a good watchdog. but I love her just the same. I have a chow that's an absolute beast. That's a great watchdog that is as cuddly as a cactus. He doesn't do that kind of thing, but I love him just the same. Why can't we do that with people that we supposedly love? It's because we're too narcissistic, and it's about what I want and what I need and what I think I should get. If you enter a relationship with the thought of I'm going to take, like it's an apple tree and I'm going to grab apples and I'm going to pull, you're not going to have a good relationship. Relationships are places where you go to give. That is the essence of all of it. It's all about giving. I want to kill this this one saying from 1970. If John, keep me on time here. There's a movie back in 1970, and it says, love is never having to say you're sorry. And it was in that movie twice, and people still repeat it today, even though it was like 50 years ago, like it's this great, smart thing. I got to tell you, nothing is further from the truth. John Lennon said, love is saying I'm sorry every 15 minutes. I don't know if I believe that, but that's pretty close. Because the thought of being able to apologize to a person you love and for them to give you the forgiveness that you want and need is what makes people tight and loving and together, because it means that you don't have to be perfect. It means that you can be vulnerable and you could be who you are in that moment, and it's still okay. And that's what's really important. It's that give and that take. It's really important to do that. If I wanted to, going back to my childhood, giving a gift, it's like an Etch-a-Sketch, right? You can have a lot of problems in your life, and if you can truly apologize to your partner, and the other person can truly forgive. I don't mean, yeah, I forgive you, and then 3 weeks later you're stacking that grudge and all that up so you can destroy this person again with the same fight over and over. I'm talking truly forgive. It's like an Etch-a-Sketch when I was a kid, right? You take it and you go, you shake it, and it's clear. And that is how you can move on in a relationship. Instead of getting this wheelbarrow filled with resentments, and you see it and you hear it all the time when you hear people talk. They talk about things that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's because a true apology probably has never been given, and even if it was, there's been no forgiveness. And without that, all you're doing is holding on to grudges, and it doesn't work. 1 minute to go. I'll throw in a little bit of Aristotle because I'm into that kind of philosophy thing. Aristotle said forgiveness is the release of bitterness and hate. And when we can do that, it opens up space, a clear space for love to happen, where you truly want to do things for your partner and they can truly accept some of the things that you're doing. You want to add in a little bit of stuff here? We only got 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I just want to say a Happy New Year to everybody. I hope 2018 is a good year, better year, whatever better means to everybody. Everybody has their own little goals going on.
You know what my goal is this year?
To our show and supporting our show over the years.
Yeah, it's been a really good year. Let me throw this in. One of my goals for next year, I'm going to say this because our people in the room right now. We are going to go see The Who again this year, right? They are supposed to have a residency at Caesars. Yeah? You ready to go again?
Oh, yeah.
How good was the show?
That was excellent.
Was that the best show ever? It was. All right, then. So, thanks for listening to the Rise Above show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.